In my difficult and often frustrating journey to understand the crumbling world around me, the only thing that comforts me is that my faith teaches me that order always prevails over chaos. Good always triumphs evil. Jesus died for the atonement of my sins, and well, my forgiveness is guaranteed. Seems odd in the world we live in today, right? But order will prevail, whether you see that metaphysically or merely in the design you see in the world around us. These truths are clearly observable. There is a balance, a constant equilibrium, a force in constant motion. Now, I'm no philosophy scholar or some intellectual with bookshelves filled with all kinds of knowledge behind me, but I am a human. I am a creation of God, and I also have the same questions. In this video, I will attempt to explain the rather obvious existence of Logos, not merely from a Christian perspective, but also as an observable natural law case, and how the forces are at work in our daily lives. And although an astounding feat, I will attempt to do what Aquinas did with his 5 proofs of God. I will attempt to merely get your attention and almost pass you on from the questions left at the end of this video to your own quest of understanding. We know by merely observing our surroundings that order and chaos are constantly at odds with each other. The laws of the universe are so finely tuned, yet order somehow prevails. And well, we don't implode, or even if we did, order would still prevail over chaos. I think the thought of this logic is quite reassuring in the dark times we live in today, and if history has ever taught us anything, we are hardly the most hard-done-by cogs in the wheel of logos versus anti-logos, historically speaking. Although the fundamentals of the battle still remain. One simply needs to look around you to know that this is true. For example, if you look at what the battlefields at the Battle of the Somme looked like in 1916 versus what they look like today, order prevails. It always does. This is Logos. It's not a mere Christian belief. It is the belief. The idea within all ideas and all logic. But what does that even mean? Would be the immediate question after a statement like that. Well, I think in order to understand the word logos, you need to understand its linguistic importance. I mean, it's a Greek word. It's not an English word. So how would you be expected to understand it? Then what I will try to do is give you the Christian view, which is essentially the word or logos, spoken into existence as truth, manifested in Jesus Christ, and try to extrapolate that into something that simply cannot be denied, no matter your worldview. So, Greek. The word logos has many meanings in Greek. In fact, Greek is an extremely complex language. The Greek language holds an important place in the history of the Western world and Christianity specifically. The canon of ancient Greek literature includes works in the Western canons such as the epic poems Iliad and the Odyssey. Greek is also the language in which many of the foundational texts in science, especially astronomy, mathematics, and logic, and Western philosophy, such as the Platonic dialogues and the works of Aristotle, are composed. The New Testament of the Christian Bible was written in Koine Greek. Together with the Latin texts and traditions of the Roman world, the study of the Greek texts and society of antiquity constitutes the discipline of classics, or the study of antiquity in the Western world. So the word logos in Greek means word, order, rationality, function, speak, spoken, speech, truth, design, reason, plan, story, and it goes on and on. But there is a noticeable trend that follows all those meanings, and that all those meanings are centered around. However, the English language falls short at really defining logos. So let's go back a bit now to the Greeks, and why I keep mentioning the Greek for this word. Well, it comes back to ancient mythology, as mentioned earlier, like the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer at about 750 BC. However, another example, the Theogony by Hesiod, another Greek poet and philosophizing mind, he wrote about the birth of the gods. He theorized that in the beginning everything was chaos, and out of that chaos rose the gods, the order and form. But this was all mythology, for the most part a barren dead end, an unfulfilled idea. So along came Aristotle and Plato and the likes, and they started observing their natural world they live in, and they tried to figure things out. And although things were complicated or somewhat chaotic, there was always an order to things. They were searching for ultimate reality. They realized the sun rose, the sun set, the wind blew, the wind didn't blow. Crops grew best at certain times of the year. Architecture and design worked according to certain laws. Mathematics and the study of astronomy. The alphabet, writing, great speeches, poems, art, and creativity. But the most important and obvious part of all of this was that their minds could comprehend this order, and that they could talk it out, and the order would materialize. They could almost speak things into existence. They realized that the most basic fundamental of ultimate reality was logos. There's a force behind this, an actuality that is unstoppable. So now, fast forward 500 years later to St. John and St. Paul addressing the Greeks to introduce to them Christ as the manifestation of God, or the Logos. They used the word Logos because of the Greek understanding of the word Logos. En arche in hologos. In the beginning was the word God, and Christ was the Logos. The most underrated failures of translations or lost in translation scenarios in history was when the Gospel of St. John was translated into English from Koine Greek. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Well, that's confusing, isn't it? We know that God is the Word, but what is the Word? It becomes quite clear in the Greek when they say, en arche in ho logos. In other words, in the beginning was the Logos. In the beginning there was order. At the beginning of everything, and it all came from there. finally fulfilling their ancient ideas of the chaos. And the order was the Logos, and the Logos was God. Logos literally translates to word from Koine Greek, but the biblical use of pre-existing words don't have the same exact meaning. Logos being a prime example. The Logos, or word, is spoken into being and eternally generated from the Father, partially distinct from God the Father, but also of the Father, inextricably linked. So when God said, "Let there be light," in Genesis, the key word there is said. He spoke words, Logos. God the Father was working through the Logos, through Jesus Christ the Word, to bring creation into being. The act of creation is from the Father, in the Son, through the Spirit, the Holy Trinity. Logos is Christ. Christ is the manifestation of Logos. This is the Christian idea of Logos. Fundamentally, the idea of Logos is speech. There is Logos speech, or speech in order, and there is anti-Logos speech, speech in rebellion of order. Jordan Peterson describes the act of speech as truth, or Logos, and the truth would extend to how you act, or your action or reaction to that speech or truth. So then the question is, what is true, or what is truth? He says there are two ways for truth to be. And the underlying question should be what you are trying to achieve with that truth. What do you want the truth to materialize into? You can think and speak truth, but what is it you are trying to achieve with it? Both thought and speech are forms of action. They might not have materialized yet, but they are definitely the precursors to action. Kind of like putting your hands on a wheel before you start to push it. So the first truth is as follows. You can either manipulate reality so it does what you want it to do. That is generally the spoken truth that makes people want to get what they want, and is generally counter natural law or anti-logos. There isn't a massive amount of belief in this truth because they don't really know what they want, or the idea is not clearly observable in nature, so it makes their truth unobtainable. They only have an idea based on a theory. It's a hypothesis, an ideology in most intellectual spheres. This is clearly a flawed process because you cannot promulgate ideas that are bound to fail. For example, you cannot expect a boat to float on water when the boat rejects the laws observable in order to make the boat float, like buoyancy, mass, density, etc. These laws are observable and govern these processes. The second truth, or the Logos truth, is you can speak of nature and what is observable. You can use these laws to improve and develop theories or processes that work within the bounds of these laws. You can be creative within the balance of chaos and order and use those elements in your favor, while always remaining vigilant of the truth's existence. Complicated, right? Not really. All he's saying is that truth can be good, Logos, or it can be bad, anti-Logos. There are good ideas and there are bad ideas. Logos is the reality, the golden thread that runs from the start of the universe to the moment these words enter your ears and into your brain. Logos is eternal, the truth, the laws that govern the universe. It is ultimate reality. Logos is God, and to deny it is to deny reality. Now, take a look around the world today. Let's do what the Greeks did when they tried to figure out the world. What does your world look like today? The detailed and beautiful has been replaced with the basic and ugly. There is a balance between order and chaos that is being ignored, totally and purposefully. This is anti-logos. The degeneracy you see all around you is a denial of reality, an asserted effort to enter into a rebellion against the laws of nature. Mass worldwide chaos and fear of the COVID-19 scare, international lockdowns, abortion rates skyrocketing, divorce rates through the roof, human sociological engineering. Here in South Africa, our government making up laws and mandates that clearly have no basis in reality. An utter watering down of culture, the destruction of churches, the family unit constantly under attack, race riots in the United States, entire groups forced to kneel down and demonized for sins they never committed. Everything flipped on its head. These are the forces of anti-logos. These people have lost their minds. I know you see it. I know you feel it. I know this video makes sense to you. I know you are busy waking up. Good. But I know you might think that resisting it is all pointless. I know you might think that walking into this dark night is pointless. It is our duty to face this enemy of anti-logos, face on and defeat it. I know you might think that order will not prevail, but I assure you, with every being of my existence, and let it be known, that order always prevails, and Logos is rising.